Hello everyone and welcome to FreeCAD tutorials. In this tutorial, we explain how to use the Additive Loft tool and Datum planes to create complex geometries. As an example, we will create the geometry shown over here. This geometry consists of several cross-sections that are defined by these datum planes over here. Let me show you the base cross-section. If I click here, you will see the base. The base is a simple slot. Then, if I go to the second cross-section defined by this datum plane, and if I click on it, you will see that the cross-section is circle. Then, if I click on the third cross-section, you will again see a slot. And then finally, if I click over here or actually over here, you will see the final geometry, or better to say the cross-section, which is slot. To construct this geometry, we actually created these four sketches, and then we use the Additive Loft tool to connect them together. And let's explain how to do that in this video tutorial. Okay, let's start. Click on File and click on New, and let's create a new part. Click on Part Design and then click on Create Body. And let's start with sketches. First of all, let's define our base sketch. To do that, you can simply click over here, then select the plane, select the XY plane and click OK. And now turn on the grid by clicking here and adjust the grid spacing to be equal to 5 and make sure here that snap to grid and snap to object is selected. So let's create our base. The base will be a simple slot. Consequently, locate over here, create slot, click on it, and then let's create our slot. Over here, in the interest of saving time, I don't care about dimensions of the slot. I will just create an arbitrary slot. Here it is. Good. And note one thing over here. I'm not constraining this slot in order to save the time. However, you should always constrain your geometry. So if I click on Close, and you might see this message. If you see such a message, go back here, go down, and erase this last constraint. And that's it. This will fix the problem, and click on Close. Okay, now we have our sketch. This is our base. The next step is to define a datum plane. For that purpose, select the sketch and click over here on the datum plane. And now click on Objects X and Y. We're going to translate in the Z direction this datum plane. To do that, over here, you need to enter the value. So enter 50 over here and press Enter. And now we have our datum plane. Next, let's attach a sketch to this datum plane. Simply click on a datum plane and click over here on Create Sketch. And now we have attached a sketch to this datum plane. Good. You can turn on the grid over here and let's create a circle. So I will click here and I will create circle by center, click over here and let's create a circle. This is our second cross section, and do the right click. And of course, you need to constrain this geometry. However, I'm not going to do that to save time, and click on Close. Now we have the first, second, let's add the third cross section. To do that, let's again click on, you can actually click on Sketch 001, and then over here click on Create a Datum Plane. And then over here, you basically have the option Objects XY, Objects XZ, Objects YZ. And let's see what happens. Let's put an offset in the Z direction to be equal to 50, and let's see what will happen. And you will see what happens. You are translating a datum plane from this base datum plane for 50, and that's it. So let's now click OK, and now we have the second datum plane. Click on it, click here, click on Create Sketch to create over here a sketch. So let's add another shape. For example, we can add over here a polygon, and click here. Let's click here on center, and let's add this shape like this. Click like this, do the right click, click on Close, and that's it. Now we have the second, or actually better to say the third cross section. Let's add the final cross section and the final datum plane. So click on this sketch, Then click on Datum plane, make sure that objects XY is selected, and let's translate the plane for 50 in the Z direction. And now we have it. Click OK. And then let's click on a Datum plane. Let's click on a sketch. And over here, let's create the final slot. So click here, click over here, and let's create our slot. Here it is. Here, do the right click, close, and that's it. Now again, there is an issue over here. Double click here and erase this constraint. And here we are. Click on close, and that's it. The final thing that we need to do is to create our loft. And here you have to be very careful. Namely, you have to select or click on certain sketches in a particular order. That is, if you want this sketch, or basically this slot over here, to be in the base, you first need to click it, right? As the first thing. Then you need to click other planes you created or other sketches you created. So click here. However, here, when I clicked, I hold Control. And I keep on holding Control key in order to select everything. And then once you do that, you can simply click here on Additive Loft and voila, here it is. It looks beautiful. Now, if you click here, you will see what happens. I will show you later on. Let me just see for the time being what will happen if I click on OK, and here it is. In order to see this shape, you need to do the following. So click here, and click here, and you can see your shape. You can see how it looks. You can create very nice geometrical shapes by using lofts. Let's now try to modify this loft. If you now double click on this loft, and if you click on ruled surface, and if you click on OK, you'll see what happens. Now, instead of oblique or actually smooth surfaces, you have straight surfaces. I don't like these surfaces, so I will double click here and then I will click on the ruled surfaces and then I'm going to click OK, and now it looks good. Next, let me show you the power of FreeCAD. Namely, since FreeCAD is a parametric software, we can actually modify the cross sections and this loft will be modified. To show you how to do that, click here and let's say you want to modify the base sketch. So click here. And then let's try to modify this sketch by, for example, increasing the base. Something like this. Click on close and voila. The sketch is automatically updated, as you can see over here. That is, the part is automatically updated. Next, let's play with this part. Over here, you can do the right click and then you can assign some random color to this part. Actually, better to do it here and do it like this, random color, and now the whole part looks like this. Much nicer, right? Okay, then you can do all sorts of manipulations with this Additive Loft. So if you click here on the Additive Loft, you will see this part over here, which you can modify. So for example, you can call this as loft. And then you can play with these other parameters. Let me now show you why it is very important to select the sketches in a particular order. Let's, for the time being, click over here and let's click on the loft and let's click on delete to erase everything. Now we are back over here and we have our sketches. Let's make them visible like this and let's do the following. Let's, for example, select this sketch as the first one. Then let's select this sketch as the second one, then this one, then this one. And then let's create here the loft by clicking here and let's see what do we get. We get completely different shape. If you click on OK and if you click what happened and if you deselect these planes, you will see what you got. You got something that looks really, really complex. Since over here, you also have some inside shape. That is, this looks like more or less like a closed surface or something similar, or it has some internal shape. That's why it's very important to properly and in a particular order select the sketches when constructing lofts. Okay, that's all for today. I hope that you like this video. If you like the videos I'm creating, please press the like and subscribe buttons. Also on my YouTube channel, there are more than 1,000 free video tutorials covering different topics such as mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, electronics, CAD design, control engineering, machine learning, robotics, robot operating system, and similar topics. That's all for today, and see you in the next video tutorial.